Hello viewers, this week's Daily Race A features none other than the glorious 125 shifter kart. Whenever this race comes up, it is chaotic without fail. This week being no exception, I even raced against Ayrton Senna at one point. With that said, let's jump into the first race. Now when this circuit was added into the game a couple of months ago, or let's say 6-7 weeks ago, I hosted an open lobby where we did some karting around this very track. And it turned out to be quite fun. So I'm quite intrigued to see that this is now an actual daily race. Let's jump in and see how it performs. Now, the first thing you're going to have to excuse, on this first race at least, is my dodgy Wi-Fi connection. See everyone teleporting about the place. That will be solved by the second race of this video. But yes, the 125 shifter, it comes around every couple of months or so into this game, and this guy, well, he's going to go flying into the wall. That is a good case in point of the difficulty of driving this thing. It is, at the best of times, extremely nervous, extremely twitchy, having a massive moment there through the bank's corner. Look how many karts are immediately behind me here, at least for a couple of seconds before they turn into bowling pins and start smashing into the wall. So I find myself now in 4th position. The slipstream is actually incredibly important on this track and in these karts, and so with quite a big gap to the kart in front, we're not really getting any slipstream, making it quite difficult to catch up. That's the first lap of 5 done. It is quite a short race, this one, maybe just shy of 6 minutes if you're quick. I did though manage to catch up with this guy, taking an interesting line through the bank's corner, quite a wide line. You can see there now within 6/10, and therefore really within that slipstream range. If we can fast forward it, you see on this back straight towards the final corner, that's where you can really start gaining, and there alone I gained maybe 3/10 on that back straight. So definitely now in with a chance of getting this podium as we go over this jump, an actual jump on this circuit, albeit a lot smaller than it was in previous games. Massive dive bomb up the inside. He's going to perform the old switcheroo and get back underneath on the way out. And so we're locked in with a nice battle here. The top two a good 3-4 seconds up the road, and so not really much chance of finishing there. At least you think so. In this race you must never discount any position because of the difficulty of these karts to drive. Anyone can crash at any moment. So into the first corner, nicely done this time, not overshooting, and into this very strange banked corner. This one is the weird one. Take a look at the leader and Consta going for a nice little 180. We'll see what happened there later, but we're all of a sudden going to be thrust into the lead of the race, and so the prophecy has come true. You must stay in the battle. You never know what might happen. The leaders can easily crash out, and that does happen a fair amount of the time. And so 1 lap to go. Can we withstand the pressure and bring home a maiden race victory here at Eiger Nordwand? This is actually a good combination. I think the karts in this game, they do feel a little bit out of place in Gran Turismo 7. I think it's fair to say. We have a yellow flag here, and someone's just spun out on the exit of this next hairpin. Well, we're going to continue with the pressure mounting from behind. But yeah, the karts do feel a little bit out of place. There isn't a dedicated karting circuit, and so it's interesting to try and find car circuits that work with this kart. I think this one does. This track kind of works. It feels about the right size for it, to be honest. But Cal GT4 behind with a 3-second penalty, so all I need to do is just play it nice and safe. Easier said than done. Even through here, if you touch the grass, you are basically asking to be killed. But coming through, final corner, first race, it is eventually going to be a nice win. Look at that, first place. Get in there, Lewis. Miracles do happen. 6 minutes, that race. Pace was okay, but we can definitely go a little bit quicker. Let's take a look at what happened to the leaders. Excuse the lag again. There was just a slight force on Consta into the wall, and that's all it takes before you're sent into the Shadow Realm. Let's move to race number 2. This one, likewise, a very interesting, intriguing battle from start to finish. Starting third, Treviso second, the Shadow 977 on pole position. And what I've noticed with these kart battles in this game, they are often incredibly tactical. You have to stay in the battle as long as possible. Easier said than done. We saw that in the previous race. It's very easy to hit someone off or get hit off or spin yourself. So there's a multitude of reasons why you might end up in the Shadow Realm or meeting Barry Art. And so you have to try your utmost to avoid all of those things. So coming into the banked corner, multiple interpretations of this one. You can actually do this line. I think this is the better line, or it's the safer line. You get a much nicer exit, as you can see, compared to Treviso. Now into the draft of the Shadow 977, moving up into second place. The narrow line into the banked corner is quicker initially, and you can get overtakes done that way. But it does compromise your exit, and I think it does increase your chance of just getting complete oversteer and spinning out. Shadow going quite wide there, but you can bring it back. The kart does actually handle quite nicely when you get on the power. If you do it in the right way, it can actually rotate the kart and give you some good exit speed. That's exactly what Shadow's doing here, getting a good run out of that final hairpin, which you can actually really get on the power very early on. And I don't quite get the line here. There's going to be a small twitch. Treviso up the inside as well. And so we're just losing touch there with the Shadow, who is just beginning to pull clear here. And it's only lap 2, with now the close attentions of a Spaniard behind. And so the race just kind of disappearing from me in this lap 2 here. I should have really stayed in the slipstream. As long as you stay in the slipstream with the car in front, you've always got a chance. And so we've kind of failed that. Anyway, lap 3 into the banked corner. Trying to carry that momentum wide. The Shadow, though, has a big moment. He's going to graze the wall on the exit, lose all the momentum, and he's going to drop a handful of seconds, many positions as well. With Treviso now up in the lead. Up into second we go. Half the race done, half to go. Just hotting up. As I said, just got to stay in it. That is the key factor, I would say. It's really easy to try to win the race on lap 3 and just go for it, but just stay in it and hope that the others make the mistakes. We do have a 5 kart race here for the race win. Over the jump we go. He's going to eventually move to the left hand side. Up the inside we go. It's a late move. It's not pretty at all. In fact, make that a 6 kart race. Take a look at the radar bottom right of the screen. It's incredibly close, and this does often happen in the kart races. You form into clusters with the slipstream not allowing the leader to get away. And so onto the back straight, lap 4 of 5, only 1.5 laps remaining. How can we go about getting this race victory from here? It's not going to be easy. I'm towing all of these guys around. Treviso tries the narrow line. He initially gets the position but does not get the drive on the exit, so we're going to continue in first place into the final corner. Lap number 4, 1 lap left to go. This is it, guys. Final lap. Crossing the line. It's a 1 minute 10.6. The lap time doesn't really matter too much right now. This is all about defending and maintaining the position, which I don't do because Treviso just pulls off an absolute worldie of an overtaker around the outside. Made me look rather stupid there. However, second place is not such a bad position to be on the final lap, given the strength of the slipstream. And so onto the back straight towards the banked corner. We're going to try and plot our final move here. I could definitely send up the inside here. He actually covers it off. That's fine by me. I'd rather have the exit speed and get the drive off the turn, which I do. And that was Treviso's main error, I think, in this race. Opting for that narrow line, which doesn't really work on the exit. And so we're going to take the lead with only 2 corners left to go. Is it going to be enough? I think it is, because the gap is just enough. I'm far away enough that they can't go for the big dive bomb. As long as I don't crash through here. After 5 very close laps, it is going to be a race victory. Yes! Get in there, Lewis. Whew, That was a really good race. It was indeed a good race, but I wanted to improve my qualifying time, which I'm doing here. It's always funny in these qualifying sessions. You're racing against a go-kart with no driver, so it really is a ghost kart. This is my best lap. See, they're just really keeping it really narrow on those first two hairpins. Going through in second gear, exiting in third. Same on this one. It's this left-hander here where you really can gain a lot of time. You can really get on the power sort of quite a long way before the apex. And that's how you can carry a lot of speed onto this back straight. 29.5 through that split, but I can definitely do 4s and 3s on better laps. And here again, going for the wide line. It's all about getting that exit speed. As the Ghost, by the way, is a 109.8. So we are roughly even with it. This part of the track is all about just carrying the speed. I like to change up gear to 6th about here, as you just head downhill for a moment. That seems to be the nicest place to do it. And then it's the final corner. Difficult one to get right. Really easy to go too late into this one, but you can carry some good speed by having a nice wider line and coming down a little bit quicker. That's a 109.806. Good enough for 62nd in the world. I do think a 109.5 is possible for me with a perfect lap. But let's jump into the next one. This was, again, another great race. I must say that the kart race was producing some brilliant battles, and I was really enjoying it. Normally, it's a bit of a meme race, and it isn't too much fun. Massive moment there. Thankfully, there's some concrete bollards there to stop me falling off the edge of a cliff. That would have been really bad. But we are fighting to live another day. That's not the right saying, is it? Anyway, let's continue. We're going to have to fight back some positions here. Albeit only 2.4 seconds off the lead, but that is quite a big gap when the guys in front are very quick. That's one move. This guy's going to go for the narrow line. That's going to compromise him on the exit, surely, as they go side by side. And now, as we slipstream on the left-hand side, look at this. Charles Leclerc is in the battle. There he is. Fresh from his win in Monza. He's decided to jump onto Gran Turismo and show what he's worth around Eiger Nordwand. That's the natural progression of any racing driver, of course. Anyway, into the final corner here. I think Blue Sky going for the move on the around the outside, not the best place to really go for it. Very high probability, I think, of getting nerfed wide. And that's something you do have to be conscious of. I think in this go-kart, it's quite hard to run side by side with people. You've got to be really conscious of that. Up the inside we go. That's the overtake. Again, compromise the exit slightly, but we're just going to run it wide side by side now with Charles Leclerc. Bit of wheel banging side to side. But I do eventually claim the position up into third. And eventually by the final lap, it wasn't going to be enough. I think I was slightly quicker on a good lap compared to these guys, but I wasn't able to catch up. Eventually finishing third after trying to catch them back up. Redemption in the last race. Unfortunately for the Hungarian guy here, there is a weird kind of glitch off the start line. Sometimes the kart just doesn't want to go, and it seems quite strange. I do think maybe starting in second gear does help that situation. However, I'm not completely sure of that. But anyway, the guy behind here, GT Realm, having a nice little spin on the exit with the Hungarian driver, Mate King, very close behind. About 1 second behind, which is within slipstream range, but not the biggest portion of slipstream. And so I was within the good kind of distance. But over 5 laps, that's not ideal. Because, you know, as soon as he starts getting within 6-7 tenths, he's really in the zone. And so I can only really afford to lose 2-3 tenths, which I've already lost 1. A little bit later on, this is the end of lap 3, or approaching the end of lap 3. You can see here, he gets within 6 tenths. And at this point, there's not much you can do on this part of the track. Once they're in the slipstream, they're in the slipstream. You can try and weave about, but you're only really slowing yourself down. And it's not really going to achieve too much. You kind of just have to accept it at that point. And so that lead quite quickly evaporated with 2 laps left to go. I think this battle is a really good example of trying to engineer a win against someone who is on the front foot, who is clearly a little bit quicker. This guy does have a better qualifying time. He proved he can easily get in the 109s during the race, and I was sort of just on the fringes of getting the 109. You see, I got a 109.9, which is my best lap in the race so far. So here he goes up the inside. Carries quite a slow speed on the inside, and I wasn't quite sure what to do there, and so just having to settle in behind for the time being. But with one lap to go, we've seen this in previous races. Second place isn't the worst place to be on this final lap, given the slipstream. However, this guy is very quick, and so I mustn't underestimate his speed, and I mustn't overestimate the slipstream. So I still have to have a good exit here, especially this corner. I think it's one of the most crucial corners on the lap. He actually does get a much better exit. I still got a good exit, but not as good as him. Gap opens to 3/10. This one needs to be good as well. He takes a very wide line going into the pit lane entry almost. He has a couple of twitches there on the exit, and that is going to be the key difference here, as the exit he would have liked did not quite happen. And so we're going to return the favour here, move back into the king's seat with only one corner left to go. He's right behind me, very, very close indeed. I'm going to cover the inside, move to the right hand side. Is he going to go for this move? I'm going to cover the inside, go as narrow as possible through the final corner. It is going to be another great win. Oh, that is exhausting. Great race though. That guy was quicker, but we did what we had to do. And it's very possible to win against faster players if you just make the right decisions at the right time. But this time, it's all about the American server, Mr. Scott Speed. Let's see what we can do from the back of the pack. Now, I suffered the fate of that weird launch glitch where you kind of don't get moving. Shifting into second did seem to make the kart pull away, but anyway, that happened. So not the most ideal start. Starting 11th, we're going to try and gain as many positions as early as possible, of course. Try to get the job done early in the race does help. Karts do seem to ghost through that left-hander, which is kind of unusual. A little bit later on here, again, look at this inside line and just being aggressive with the overtakes. Guy in front there spinning off to the right-hand side. So it's going to be pretty much 3 overtakes for the price of 1 here. So mastering that corner. Once you really get comfortable with getting on the power, then you can really get on the power quite early. And it's just about, well, firstly, not doing that. That was a massive moment. That could have been a lot worse. I do think you have to introduce the power on this kart quite smoothly. Otherwise, it's a surefire way to find yourself in the barrier. And I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but just don't touch the grass. I think that's a good piece of advice. The kart will spin, pretty much guaranteed. And that's not what you want to be doing. So Grove Street there, going for the audacious dive bomb, not quite working. And so we're eventually going to hold 5th. End of lap 2, catching up with the guys in front. That was quite a wide line, but you can carry good speed. That guy on the grass, kind of going against the advice I just gave. Nice slipstream against this guy. Moving up the inside, still a 3.2 second margin to the race leader, and therefore it's not going to be easy from here. Final lap though. Can we seek any further positions? Yes, we can, because that guy's going to turn left on the right-hander and find himself the perpendicular meeting with the wall. It was eventually only going to be a second. I say only. It was a good result, starting 11th. We're going to go from 11th again, though. And this time, we're going to see if we can get that race win. Again, a couple of karts not getting that launch they would have liked. So capitalising quite early, already up into 7th, 4 positions. Before we even get to the braking zone of turn 1, I do go into the back of that guy, but if anything, kind of pushed him into a better speed through that corner. Again, a little bit more contact through there. As we head down the hill towards the next hairpin. So these hairpins, definitely a lot of time in these. Shifting often down to 2nd, or going back to 3rd on the exit to really get that stability. Okay, a little bit later on in the race, looking to try to engineer a move here. And it's possible to do. Just situate myself on the left-hand side going in, and I think it makes people a little bit nervous. And it just puts them off their line going on the way in, giving you the possibility to give them the old switcheroo on the way through the corner. That guy turning right on a straight and going straight down the order. Are we going to go for the move here? He doesn't cover it, so I'm going to be quite aggressive here with these moves. He does actually try to recover, doesn't quite happen. continues turning far too much to the right on the right hand of that one. Now I was actually able to reel the leader in. And it is very possible if you put the laps in. And amazingly, it turned out to be Ayrton Senna, would you believe, of all people in the world to find yourself up against. We're going to go for the gap that exists, send it up the inside, and give Ayrton Senna a little bit of taste of his own medicine by diving up the inside, going for the gap that exists. But we're actually going to hand the position back there. It was quite a strong move. I think we could do that one properly. So we're going to go for another cleaner opportunity. The gap certainly did exist. There was a bit of contact, so we're going to go for another opportunity here. Up into the banked corner. Lap 4 of 5. Scott Speed versus Ayrton Senna. This is a battle of the ages like you have never seen before. Can we get one over on Ayrton Senna, the GOAT? Well, I call him the GOAT, but we all know Scott Speed is the actual GOAT. This is where things are going to hot up. The slipstream is very much building up now. Going to try and engineer something here. Don't quite have the momentum. Just trying to put him off his line once again. Not quite happening. Ayrton Senna isn't easily flustered, although he is there. Goes way too wide through the final corner, moving to the lead. Can I just say that this is quite a scary sight when you look behind it, and there he is, the famous yellow helmet. Am I going to get dive bombed into the next corner? That is the question. He's on the left hand side. He can't really do it from there. Cover the inside. I think there's a long shadow that goes into this corner, pretty much braking on that first shadow, and it's kind of a good braking zone, good reference marker for that first hairpin. But now we've seen in previous races that being second through this part of the lap is actually not such a bad idea. But currently you can see I'm not second, I'm first. So is this a bad idea? Well, we're about to find out. Into the bank's corner. Carrying good speed through here, just really trying to make sure we don't have that big moment on the exit, which can really compromise your speed all the way up this hill. He's very much there. I'm going to half cover the inside, but he's still going to go for it. Not much I can do about that. And so Ayrton Senna has retaken the lead. Side by side into the final corner on the final lap. Who is going to win this one? He backs out a little bit early. We carry the speed around the outside. Sensational move by Scott Chegg, who now becomes the GOAT and takes the win against Ayrton Senna. Get in there, Lewis. Not even Ayrton Senna can beat Scott Speed.